All right, it's Thursday, September 21st. This is pretty much an end of the day SPY recap. It's about a half hour to go in trading, but I have to leave here, and I figured I'll just kind of shoot this video now and go over some of the key things for today, no matter what happens in the last half hour. You could obviously see after this big red 3-bar yesterday, we gapped down and then continued a lot lower with a 2-down continuation that kind of hit our main target there, which I'll get to in a second. And again, the key context in play here, the reason that this continuation was kind of high probability in some form, was that we discussed all week long how we were breaking out of this 2 inside bars right here, almost 3 overlapping weeks of price action. Once we confirmed yesterday we're heading down, then we're heading towards these targets down here. And that's really all, you can, once you kind of had that in play, then you kind of can feel comfortable taking a continuation trade. Now that we've hit some targets, there's still another target right down here next, so that could easily be hit tomorrow or even by the end of the day today. If we look at the weekly chart, we've come down, we've hit this target, which I'll get to in a second, and you can see the next targets are down here now, which is very close and likely to be hit, quite frankly. The interesting thing too is that on the monthly chart, we have officially established a 2-down month. And now with we still have a whole week to go in trading, and the next target, well, first of all, there's a fair value gap between, this high and this low to kind of take us down all the way to that 423 area. The low of the month is down here if we really want to continue lower, but there's this gap, we're kind of filling it down here. And now that we have our second monthly pullback, we really need a lot of constructive price action to even start thinking about the upside again. And obviously that's going to start on the daily chart. On the weekly chart here, we're going to have to get something next week that fails and has a 2 down, 2 up. And there's all kinds of negative things going on at the moment. There's a pivot machine gun going down here on the weekly chart. You can see we could just go red, red, red. There's a couple of gaps in here to fill. So there's a lot of weakness out there, but you're at short-term exhaustion risk. And I'll show you today even an example of that. When you have that, sometimes you have to wait for buy stops to be taken out before it heads lower. So anyway, today, like I said, I'm looking at the, little less than a half hour to go in trading. Obviously, we're heading much lower. Let's look at the 15-minute chart and just see how structure unfolded and how you would have at least interpreted the day. You can see here, with a couple of bars to go, maybe we'll pause here and come up a little bit towards the end, or maybe we'll just close near the lows. I don't know. But anyway, today, right out of the gates, it was tricky because, you're gapping down big from yesterday, but you kind of anticipated that. And immediately you're coming down on bar number 1 with a big red bar. So going short here on bar 2 with some little exhaustion risk, you don't know if you're going to get that big momentum to start, but certainly getting below bar 1 took out the pre-market lows here. I could see, that was like your target at a minimum. And you could see it comes down there, it takes that out, and the next bar comes above it. So that's why it's tricky to kind of jump right in here. But what you could have done is just kind of wait and see. And this is what I like to do on these gap downs, is just kind of watch it. If it really is going to have a big negative move, then you can get the first pullback and get short. In this case, we kind of just had a pullback that went to pretty much the halfway point of that first bar, which is what I always look at, then failed again. So this was kind of the good either re-entry signal or the first, short trade you might want to take. And you can see there, you took out that low, push 1, push 2, and there's your morning trade. And again, it's a little tricky given that, you're gapping down and there's a lot of exhaustion risk, how much really lower you're going to get. So the morning trade gave you a good opportunity to do a couple of things to get short and kind of watch it head lower. Now, what's interesting here is these lows right here. Okay, if I go to the daily, I'll mark it on this chart here and then go to the daily chart. You can see where that dotted yellow line is. We did not reach our target yet, so you still know there's room to go lower. You're not at true exhaustion risk in terms of any kind of reversal on the day anyway. And what that means is what had to happen here is price, it didn't have to happen, but it obviously stalled out here, didn't reach its target, on that daily chart, came up, took out these highs. So it took out some liquidity, buy stops. Anyone who was going short, they put their stops here, and then it immediately reversed. So the only other trade to consider, knowing that you still had a target down here on that daily chart, was kind of to take one more shot here on this 2 down, somewhere in here, and take out the lows in this target. And this trade here would have been a great afternoon trade to get, not only the lows of the day and that target, but even below that. So, that's what kind of gave you, that's what I'm saying. Now that you have exhaustion risk in play, it's going to be hard to get momentum. You might have to wait for moves like this where you make slightly higher highs and then it reverses lower. And that all has to be within the context of the daily structure. So we'll get into that more tomorrow and, in the days ahead if we continue lower, because, you are at a little bit of exhaustion risk. But I just wanted to point out some of that and how today was a big follow through day, which you kind of expected, and you had the targets down here. And again, it all stems from breaking out of these two areas. Now that we've kind of hit this target, it's exhaustion risk. We could pause a little bit, but we have that monthly chart with the 2 down and targets below still. So we'll look for opportunities to continue to get short. It's just a question of, day after day, are you going to get red? There's gaps to fill on the upside. So we'll have to really monitor it. The easiest trading here was kind of at these inflection point, towards the end of this week, these 2 short days. And now we just have to see what unfolds. But if you kind of continue to just grasp, how price action continues to operate at some of these key levels, then and watch the intraday structure relative to the first bar and the pre-market range, it should guide us to some, continued good trades with a bias to the downside now. And like I said, even though, it looks like maybe you're making a lower low here and this could be a reversal to start back up, I sense that since we have a monthly 2 down now for the second month in a row, where we might and pivot machine gun potential here, I don't see anything good about this market, and it's going to take constructive price action starting on the weekly chart to even begin to consider the upside. But we might have to be patient to wait for more downside. So let's see what unfolds. And now after talking a lot, we probably have 20 minutes to go before the close of trading, but you get the idea about what today was all about. And again, structure wise, you can see right from the start, it was a down day all day long.